Hey, what's up everybody? As you already know, my name is Alyceson-Grace and welcome to my channel. Well, a lot has happened since my last upload, so I wanted to at the very least explain myself and discuss to the best of my ability what I plan to do going forward. But I also wanted to tell you guys what's been going on and why I generally haven't been speaking too much. So, I had some technical difficulties first of all with my laptop. I'm still having those issues, but I'm trying to work around them so I can at least get this video uploaded. My laptop has pretty much run its course, and I have to keep it plugged in or it dies instantly. And it stays at 0% all the time. So I have to buy a new laptop, and those are expensive. I'm a college student, I'm about to graduate, so that's probably going to be my graduation gift to myself. But if you want to help a sister out, I'm going to link my Venmo, Cash App, and all the other great things in the description below. At any rate, yeah, my laptop is pretty much the only thing I can use to edit. I tried editing with another platform, and I had to cancel the video completely. So I've been kind of stunted since my laptop decided to kind of burn out, and now I'm just kind of on the hunt for a new one. So comment down below if you have any suggestions on any new laptops I should purchase or anything like that. Next, because I haven't been able to get to editing, I haven't been able to upload on Fridays like I normally do. And then with the Red River road trip, I had a little bit of some stunted growth with completing the last part of it, so I just halted it so I could, the next time I start uploading them again, I could, complete the entire series, you know what I mean. But in all honesty, I took a mental break from uploading because, in our friend group, we had a bit of a pretty difficult discourse, and it kind of led to the fracturing of our group. And I talked about it very briefly within the Red River road trip, but some things kind of reared their head again recently, and they've kind of rendered me unable to complete some of my projects, because they include people who are, that I'm not really talking to at the moment. So I don't have a problem explaining it, and that's what I intend to do, because I think you deserve to know, and more than likely you're probably in the friend group anyway, so it's better for you to understand where I'm coming from than for you to be as confused as everyone else. So to provide an element of a premise, I got dragged into a conflict because some of the boys that are on the outskirts of our group were claiming that one of us had insulted one of their friends. And so there's a guy in the group, and they caught wind that somebody in our girl group was saying he looked like a broke Travis Scott. So, yeah, their main point of contact is Cameron. So they thought, well, from what I can gather, Cameron apparently told them that either me or Chloe had said something along those lines about the guy, and since he's not showed on my channel before, I'm keeping him anonymous just because I don't have that permission yet. But either way, that was the issue at first, and they were trying to figure out why. According to Cameron, they were trying to figure out why Chloe was so fixated on the group, especially because she's not active in the group in the same way. And they were saying that there was some element of her trying to reconnect with X. As you guys know from my San Antonio summer trip videos, they used to be together and they broke up in the fall of 2019. And I don't really talk too often about what happened with that relationship because it's none of my business, but parts of it I will have to explain here just to provide some context and clarity, but with respect to the privacy of the people involved. At any rate, there was a miscommunication or a absence of provided information within the group about why X and Chloe broke up. So from what the guys have been told, at least from what I understand, is that it was implied that the breakup was a mutual decision, and that yes, there had been some element of unfaithfulness, but who committed the unfaithfulness was never really disclosed. When in actuality, it was not a mutual breakup. Chloe made the decision because, because X cheated on her with his previous partner, and because we found out that Chloe had been kind of like the side chick for a hefty amount of their time talking, and we just didn't know. So there was a lot of absence of information. And so the boys found that out, and they started freaking out, I guess, and they started calling X a op and calling him fake and calling him a liar and all that stuff. We've been through this before, so that's nothing new. But ultimately, they were trying to figure out which one of us in the group was calling their friend a broke Travis Scott. And according to the guys, Cameron kind of ended up giving away that nobody had really said it, and that she had, by a technicality, thrown Chloe specifically under the bus. And their dead giveaway was because I think when Mouse asked Chloe about whatever was going on, Chloe wasn't aware, and they didn't reach out to me until a little later, and I didn't really understand. So they felt like Cameron was fake as well. At any rate, I got dragged into the Discord to talk about what I knew, and they were trying to explain to me how Cameron and X were fake and how they'd been lying to everybody in the group and betraying everybody in the group, And it gets revealed that apparently X had a history of not being honest with some of the people in the group. His best friend brings up a time where he faked having amnesia, and during that period of false amnesia, flirted with the best friend's girlfriend. And so ultimately he asked me, like, well, has Xavier ever made a pass at you? And I don't really talk about it too often because I didn't really think too much about it. But during the first week of my time in Oklahoma, as I mentioned in one of the videos, we had a very odd dynamic where I had made it clear initially that X would sleep on the pull-out couch, and to provide that distance, because I didn't think it was the most appropriate thing to share a bed with another guy, especially another guy that has done unfortunate things in relationships, So I made that comment in one of my videos, and as I showed you guys, he still ended up sleeping in the bed, and that happened every day he was in Oklahoma with me. And I just didn't really talk about it too much because, what can you really do in a situation like that? We're all grown. If I've told you, like, hey, like, this is where you go, this is where I go, and we leave it at that, if you don't listen to that every single day I bring it up, like, that is an active decision you're making. Like, I don't speak for my health, you know what I mean? So I told them about that, and then I told them about whenever we were having some of the gummies, like I showed you guys in the videos, we had some of the rum or some of the liquor, and he had made a passing comment like, oh, if something happens, I'm not going to say anything, And the way that I wrote it in my journal, and the way that I interpreted it, and the way that I explained it to Zion and my friends, was that he was saying, if something happened between me and him when we were in Oklahoma, he wasn't going to say anything. And so I told the boys about that, and they were saying, like, oh, we believe you, like, what's wrong with you, X, and this, that, and the third. And I didn't hold it against him. Obviously, he's been in a lot of my videos. So, either way, I lit into the group because they were calling him fake, and I was just saying, why would you still be friends with somebody that you think is a liar? Why would you be friends with somebody who flirted with your best friend, with your best friend's girlfriend, who's now the fiance? Like, why would you claim that you're close to somebody that has betrayed you so often? And so I withdrew from the group and all that stuff because I just didn't really want to deal with it any further, and because I had other stuff to do. But the next day, I was still in the Discord at the time, and I got a call from Cameron, and she was saying that she had left the Discord. And it was because they had just all immediately turned on her, and they brought X back into their group, and they were saying like, no, you're still our friend, dude, like you're still close, like you're still one of us, and Jacob, that's X's best friend, called and was trying to apologize to me, saying like, hey, I was wrong, I didn't mean to get you fired up about everything, I talked to X, this is what he really meant, he's not the best with communication and all that stuff. And pretty much they were all saying like, hey, like, that's our bad, we didn't mean to charge him up, like he's actually a real friend, Cameron's the one who's fake. I'll talk about Cameron later, but my thing is just like, my frustration was just, if you had, I don't know, this is where I didn't expect myself to really be that uncomfortable talking about it. But it's moments like that that really do kind of solidify a lot of the sentiments a lot of people have with regards to conduct between the genders and what's appropriate and who's really going to support you and who's not. If you one day are saying you believe a person and that you feel like they're telling the truth and they give you all the irrefutable proof that they can muster, and that in the span of 24 hours is no longer sufficient, and at the end of the day you just decide you want to go back and be friends with somebody who did something that you thought was offensive because it's convenient for you, and I don't know. It just shows that you can give all the evidence in the world that something has happened, and if people don't want to do the right thing, they won't. And I ended up, in my opinion, experiencing a lot of gaslighting, I guess. Getting a lot of messages saying that's not what I meant. They wouldn't let me speak. That's not what I meant at all. When it's like, I'm not stupid, right? And that's the problem. It's just that the fact that all it takes is somebody talking once or working their magic once to make you even question if you remember anything, right? That's what disturbs me about everything, is that I've always been steadfast about what happened. I redirected them to you guys, to the channel. I read an entry from my journal, which most people know I don't like to do unless it's absolutely necessary. I explained everything as candidly as I could, and that wasn't enough. They claim to believe me, but their actions say otherwise, and that hurts. But the thing that hurts even more is, I told Jacob, because Jacob is the one who called me saying like, hey, I was wrong, I'm sorry that I got you charged up about X, like, I think you guys should be friends again, I'm sorry I messed that up. And I told him, if you really want to see a change, you need to talk to Zion. If you're gonna go out of your way to call somebody your friend and then, sleep in the same bed as your friend's partner and feel like nothing is wrong with it, that's between the two of you, And I think I want to say the reason that X never reached out, or that X didn't reach out over the phone, is because I wouldn't talk to him per se. So I don't think it was one of those where he sent Jacob out to talk to him. I don't know about that one. I think it's just because he already knew that we just didn't really want to talk to him like that. But anyway, Jacob called Zion, and he didn't know that I was there, and I was nearby. And whenever he was trying to apologize to Zion for what happened with the friendship and all that stuff, he mentioned that X told him that I had been begging him to come into the bed, and that he was initially saying no, and that I was the one who was insisting that he sleep in the bed with me. And I've had an issue with guys in the group. Sometimes making suggestions that I want to do certain things with them that I don't say. But the difference between having that situation and this is, okay, so, with one of our friends who had suggested that I wanted to do something with him and Zion. I mean, the guy and I had history from freshman year. We've had our fair share of run-ins. And, he'd been drinking and all that stuff, and you don't want to excuse it, but because he and I have that sort of relationship where I don't consider him to be a liar, and I don't think he was trying to lie on my name, he just didn't want to get in trouble with Zion for suggesting something sexual to me. I don't hold any grudges against that guy. But with X, there's never been any romantic or sexual history. I know a lot about his sexual history. I know a lot about his sexual prowess because he's told me about those things, as he probably does everybody. And because, if you've been sexually active with one of, somebody that I know, I might have to cut that out. Anyway, either way, if you've been sexually active and you want to tell me about your experiences, I'm not gonna be upset about that. I don't consider that emotionally draining. But either way, I don't appreciate that implication because, I've had a history with relationships of not being the best person. I'm not perfect. There's things I could definitely do better, and there's always going to be somebody out there who's more disciplined and more focused and better at loving people than I am. But I don't like it when people lie on me, especially in ways that would jeopardize my integrity in a relationship. If I'm going to do something that's inappropriate, then let it be something that actually does happen, not something that's a lie. You know what I mean? So, all throughout the course of my relationship, I'd say I've been a very solid partner. I'm not blind to people that I know are well-to-do or that are endearing. I'm not going to lie about that. But I never take actions that would destroy my relationship, because I know firsthand that once you get into that territory of betraying the trust of your loved one, then the relationship will ultimately sour, and the relationship will ultimately fail. You've tainted it. And even if it's not a marital relationship, once your integrity is compromised, the relationship cannot stand. And that's not something that I want to experience, So hearing that X had been lying about me to his friends, saying that I had been wanting him to come into the bed with me, and that he only slept in the bed that one night, was very frustrating because it wasn't true. He slept in the bed every night he was there. I have lots of videos from all the times he was up in Durant of him sleeping in the bed. Heck, we had a girl come up in light of the George Floyd thing, trying to keep her safe, and she was on the couch and X was in the bed with me. I don't know what else to say. And he was trying to tell our friends that I touched him in his sleep, and he was repulsed by it. Not like touched him in a sexual way, but like our legs made contact, and he was repulsed by it. He was saying that's because he hadn't gotten over losing Chloe, and he wasn't comfortable being touched by women. But I can say firsthand that he was very. at least from what I know, he was the one whose foot or leg or lower extremity touched mine. I didn't get close to him. He moved closer to me. And he's never seemed to be repulsed, and he did not convulse. I was awake when his leg touched me. He was the one who was asleep. I'm the one who mentioned it to him as like a, hey, are you okay? Anyway. So, I overheard that conversation, and I didn't really take very well to it, so, I was struggling, and I was pretty hostile. I was hostile to everybody that night. I wasn't really good at expressing myself. I went into the bathroom, locked myself on the other side of Zan's apartment. I don't know why it made me so emotional, but I just was just crying in the dark for like a good 30 minutes. I just sat there. I don't know why. I mean, nothing happened to me. Nothing happened to me, and I know that. I'm not going to accuse somebody of doing something that they didn't do. I just... Something about that just made me feel terrible. It just made me feel like no one cared, or that no one believed me. Something about that really hurt. And then to know I was lied on by somebody who considers me their twin, that was rough. But the next day, Zion got a text from X, and X was trying to say that he didn't know why Jacob had told him that that I had been begging him to come into the bed, and it was just getting more and more frustrating. I haven't heard anything from X at this point. I don't even know if he knows that I know all of this, but it's hard for me to work on my projects. It's hard for me to work on a lot of my content creation, knowing that somebody who's pretty active in a lot of my videos is, that they said something or did something that wasn't okay. I didn't think it would affect me. I mean, look, everybody's been through worse, I've had my fair share of unfortunate experiences with people. It doesn't faze me. I mean, I've never had any like traumatizing penetrative acts or anything like that happen. I want to clarify. But everybody's been through something unfortunate, But this is the only time where I've really felt actually kind of like severely like kind of rattled by it. And I think it's because of how easy it is to convince ourselves that maybe something didn't happen or that we're the ones in the wrong because of one conversation with someone else. Cameron talked to X, Jacob talked to X, and they all seem to change their tune about him just by having a conversation with him. So if that's the case, then what's to stop Sydney and Chloe and Zion and Desi and everybody else from changing their mind just by talking to someone? What's to stop me from changing my mind? What's to stop me from believing myself? At any rate, that's been really rough to deal with. And combined with, the stress of preparing to graduate and with school and all that other stuff, I just haven't had the ability to do content creation the way that I want to. I'm not even sure I'm going to grad school because I'm not doing well in one of my classes. But I'm going to try to get back on the horse before the middle of the summer comes, because you guys know when the middle of the summer comes, I can't make videos around that time. And when August comes, I don't make videos at all. So typically, from the middle of the summer onward, for the rest of the year, I struggle with video creation, so I want to try to get as much in before I run out of time. I think I've got some good projects on the way, but I figured you guys should understand what's been going on and why I'm just kind of struggling right now. Why I have to kind of review a lot of stuff and think through a lot of stuff and figure out what I'm gonna do next. I don't feel terrible, you know. I mean, I do, but life keeps going, and I just have to keep it pushing, you know. It's just been a rough period of time, and this all happened within the span of, let's see, my last therapy session was, 2 Thursdays ago? The last Thursday? Not this past Thursday, but like the one before. Either way, it's all transpired within the span of like 2 weeks. So yeah, it doesn't really excuse some of the other stuff that I haven't been able to do on my channel, but you know, it is what it is. So I don't really have much to say further, but I have a lot of ideas for good cat chats that I think we're gonna enjoy, and I think that we're gonna have fun this summer. I'm almost done with being vaccinated, and a lot of cool things are happening, so I think we're gonna have a good time. But until then, feel free to comment down below if you have any questions or if there's something you want to see. Don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, and don't forget to subscribe. As you already know, my name is Alyceson-Grace. I make videos kind of whenever I feel like it, but I typically upload them on Fridays. I will try to get back on the horse with Red River Road Trip and some of the other stuff. But if I'm not back on it yet, don't worry, I'm gonna be back on it soon. But it's good to talk to you guys again. Bye.